In our biology class, we have been learning about animals and their interactions with the environment as well as cellular biology. Our group was assigned to present a research that discusses the differences in cellular metabolic rate of birds from tropical and temperate regions. In this study, researchers from Ohio University and University of Cincinnati hypothesized that there is a correlation between the whole metabolic rate and cellular metabolic rate of the birds. In general, tropical birds have lower metabolism, higher survival rate, and lower reproduction rate than the temperate birds, because the tropical birds have a slow pace of life, which means they have slow growth rate. On the other hand, temperate birds have higher metabolism, lower survival rate, and higher reproduction rate. This can be supported by the law of natural selection. If adult mortality risk is high, more reproduction is required so they can keep their species away from an extinction. Therefore, the birds that have high mortality rate will have higher metabolism.
Researchers collected 17 species of tropical birds from Panama and temperate birds from Ohio, US. To attain the cell, the researchers first dissected the birds and collected the skin cell samples. Although the birds were collected from different geographical locations, the scientists ensured the climate in both regions were very similar by collecting the birds from Ohio in May and June. Each cell sample was tested for oxygen consumption and glycolytic capacity. The bird cells were grown at 37 degrees Celsius in an atmosphere of 5% oxygen for 3 days in a flask, after which the solution was replaced. After a week, the cells were harvested and stored in the liquid nitrogen for a year before their metabolic assessment. A device called XF24 Seahorse analyzer was used to measure the rate of oxygen uptake and the carbon dioxide output. The culture plate was placed in a running medium that contains glucose and sodium pyruvate to measure the oxygen consumption and extracellular acidification rate.
To understand the results, it is important to focus on metabolism. Whole organism is determined by cellular metabolism. The following are major factors that influence the rate of metabolism. This figure shows a difference of 4 factors between tropical and temperate birds. The majority of plots are negative because tropical birds have lower values. For example, basal cell oxygen consumption was 29% lower, and non-mitochondrial respiration had a 32% decrease in tropical birds.
After seeing the procedure and results of the experiment, we can now relate it to the topics we learned in class. The first one is natural selection. Natural selection is the process by which individuals with certain heritable traits tend to produce more surviving offspring than others, which often leads to a change in genetic makeup of the population. Biological fitness, adaptation, and selection can be found in this experiment by seeing that the tropical birds thrive in higher temperatures, while temperate birds prefer a cooler climate. Next, we can relate to cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is a common pathway for production of ATP, involving transfer of electrons from compounds with high potential energy through an electron transport chain and ultimately to an electron acceptor, often oxygen. The process is shown here in the diagram. The consumption of oxygen were those that were involved in determining the metabolic rate. In conclusion, natural selection and cellular respiration are 2 important factors that we have learned in class, which are responsible for explaining the different metabolic rate between tropical and temperate birds. Here is the list of works cited. Thank you for watching the video.